What is going on, guys? This is Daniel, and Marvin Bagley, the number 2 pick for the Kings, had a rough summer league, especially from an efficiency standpoint on offense. And in this video, I'll take a look at his offense in part 1 of my summer league breakdown of Bagley and see what he did well and what areas he definitely needs to improve on. Let's get to it. Let's start with Bagley as a role-playing big where he projects very well on offense, and it starts with the fact that he runs the floor hard. He's very athletic, and you see here, as a rim runner, he's able to catch it in transition and slam it over Wagner. This was a nice play, so he first boxes out DeAndre Ayton, and on the rebound, he beats Ayton up the floor and is able to get it and is fouled. As a finisher, he's obviously athletic, though it's unclear based on Summer League exactly what kind of touch he has around the rim. He certainly finished many plays, but also had a couple instances like this one where he misses a gimme at the rim. He's a classic screen and roll big, though in Summer League, he wasn't in good position to showcase this ability because he was always playing with another big. Here, for instance, he goes to screen and roll, but even here, there's Harry Giles on the floor, clogging up the spacing, though on this particular play, Bagley does a nice job of catching it on the roll and then delivering a nice pass when the defense steps up. He didn't put up great offensive rebounding numbers in Summer League, but based on what we saw at Duke and the fact that he's very high motor and athletic, he should be able to produce in this area even in his rookie season, and here's a nice putback. I also noticed he does a nice job of boxing out even on offense, and here he'll use a spin move to get inside position on the rebound, and he keeps the possession for the Kings. Now let's talk about his post-ups, which did not go well in Summer League, but let's start with the positives, and here's a nice play where he gets it on the block versus a smaller defender, and he shows good fluidity and touch to elevate over the top. A pretty basic move here, but when he gets to the middle, he sails to the defender with a quick head fake and draws a foul. It'll be important for him to leverage his quickness in these post-up / face-up situations, and here against Dragan Bender, he nicely faces up and is able to beat Bender baseline for the and one. Unfortunately, those post-ups were not common as most of the time Bagley struggled, and it starts with the fact that he's pretty thin, and here against Josh Hart in the post, despite the fact he has a pretty big height advantage, he has no success and is actually pushed back because of the lack of strength. This was a big reason he ended up settling for a decent amount of mid-range face-up jumpers, most of which he did not hit, and these are not efficient shots, and I'm not going to bore you by making you watch a bunch of them. Even here, while he ends up making a decent pass, you see how raw his post game is. He's not able to really gain much leverage in the post, and he's very left-hand dependent, forcing his way to the left side. This right here was one of his worst plays of Summer League, so he gets it, and despite the fact that he has the whole right side of the floor to work with, you see he really wants to go to that left hand, so he goes left into the teeth of the defense, and when the defense collapses on him, he has tunnel vision here and doesn't kick it out to Frank Mason, and he ends up traveling. Defenses didn't double him in the post, so his passing wasn't tested in that regard, but I'd say his passing in Summer League was mediocre, as there were just a few instances like this one, where here in the post, Derrick Jones comes pretty far off Mason, and Bagley has the option to whip a quick pass over the Mason, or make a post move to draw Jones in, but instead he ends up taking a very difficult lefty shot. And while not post-up related, this was a poor pass as he tries to force it into Harry Giles at the high post, but Ayton deflects it. So while we look at his Summer League stats and see that he shot 33%, a lot of it has to be accounted for the fact that he was forced the ball in the post and is just not polished there at all to score effectively or efficiently, and this could definitely hurt him if he's given too many post touches early in his career, and it's unclear of course how good his post game will be 3 or 4 years from now, and also the fact that he went 1 of 10 from 3 also of course hurt that field goal percentage. Let's briefly touch on his face-up game from the top, and it's similar to the post game in the fact that there's not a lot of substance there. Here, a basic crossover doesn't really get him anywhere, and then he tries to finish with his left hand across the body despite being on the right side of the court. Here he'll opt for the mid-range pull-up. This was impressive as he goes coast to coast here, showing off his fluidity and ball handling ability, which is nice, though the shot he gets is actually quite tough, though give him credit for hitting it. But to have value as a grab and go guy, he'll have to at least be a solid passer at the next level, and on this play, even while he makes the basket, I would have liked to seen him throw the kick out pass to Mason, as the defensive guard did crash in on him, and instead he ended up with a rather difficult shot. 3-point shooting is next, and especially if he spends a lot of time at the 4, it'll be important that he's able to hit this shot, and he may not be able to in his rookie season, though it was good to see him at least shooting them pretty confidently. Whether he shoots a high percentage or not, one thing the coaches definitely need to work with him on is his knowledge of spacing. First off, he's always looking to post up, which is fine, the coaches probably want him to, but then here, when Justin Jackson drives right at him, he doesn't go to the corner to create space despite the fact there was another center near the lane, and Jackson turns it over here. Here in early offense, he has a size mismatch against Duncan Robinson, so he nicely looks to duck in, but then the Kings run a pick and roll on top, and Bagley does not recognize this, and he stays in the paint despite the fact the pick and roll is going on around him. He doesn't get to the corner. This kills the spacing, and it's almost a turnover for the Kings. Well, there you have it, guys. Just based on Summer League, his offense seems somewhat ordinary in a lot of areas, but again, we don't want to overreact. Anyways, tomorrow is part 2, where I'll be addressing the question, are Marvin Bagley's defensive concerns overblown or not? Out of Duke, defense was the big question. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you then.